So the first problem that we've encountered with the i3 in the 6 months of ownership is the passenger side door has now refused to open. So the locking and unlocking still works. You can see the pin going in and out, but when the car's unlocked and you go to open the door, nothing happens. And when you try from the inside, multiple times, also nothing happens. And there's literally nothing on the internet other than just gibberish about, well, take your car back to BMW or give it a bash or something like that, and nothing about how to actually fix this issue. So I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to start by removing this piece here. So first things first is removing this cover here, and in order to do that, there's a little latch here and little access port here, so you can use your key. And the point is, once you put something through that hole, it will press on this bit here and it will unlatch it, and then you can just lift this cover off. So if you pull the actual key out of the key fob, out of there, you can put it in and you can pry it like that. So this is what's actually happening when you insert the key in. And then you can pry it this way. And fast forward a few minutes, or about an hour and a half actually, with the help of this guy and removal of that, I managed to get the door released. Unfortunately, the door lock mechanism didn't survive, so we'll need to be replacing that. But let me explain to you what the problem was. So, firstly, how to get to this point and how to release the door manually. You can pry the door skin off these clips just here with the door being completely shut. So you start off here and you pry it just far enough for it to sort of lean open. That will then give you access to go in from underneath about this wide to be able to get to where this mechanism is. Get a torch in there, and what you could do afterwards is try and access emergency release. And the emergency release is this actual hole here. So what you'd need is a very small stubby screwdriver similar to this one. Go in from underneath into this hole, but the screwdriver should also have a little bend on it, and somehow try and push on that metal bit there. And if you manage to push it up, it should release the latch, just like that. And that's the access hole for it. I didn't manage to do that because to actually get to it is virtually impossible, and I was pretty certain that the issue lies within the actual lock mechanism. Hence, I knew I was going to be replacing it, and I didn't mind sacrificing it. They're only about £20 here in the UK secondhand, and let me show you what the actual problem was. So as soon as I managed to break through this top cover, the door pretty much released straight away. So this is what it looked like before, and in my case the problem was with this little cog on this electric motor here. So when you lock and unlock the car, both motors move, and they're basically connecting and disconnecting the latches to the lock mechanism, so the door handles and the cables to the lock mechanism and back. So when you lock it, they rotate. So that one is intact and it operates this sprocket here, and this one isn't. So this is the sprocket. You've got this little bit here and the centralizing bit. So the centralizing bit, the center point goes into there, and this little tooth goes into this recess here, and the job of it is to go that way and that way. So this way it's disabled, and this way it's enabled, and this is what happens at the bottom. Disabled, enabled. So when it's like this you can't open it, when it's like this you can open it. And as you just saw earlier, when you lock and unlock the car, this spins, and that's what it's supposed to do. So it should be operating this sprocket and moving this mechanism. But what happened in my case was something really quite interesting. If I install this back to where it's supposed to be, and this is how it's supposed to sit, just like that, and operate the lock and unlock, look what happens. So let's hold that there. That jumps out. So what's happened is that this cog has detached from the shaft, and that's why I had this issue. So quite a simple fix really. You just got to replace the lock, or you could replace this motor with the cog, but I wouldn't advise it. So I would recommend actually having this whole mechanism replaced. So whichever way you decide to release the door lock, whether it's going through the access hole and trying to lift this up, or whether it's breaking the top cover off like I did and then getting to it, is hell of a lot easier and then just prying it like that. Whichever way you decide to do that, once you've done that, you can then actually open the door and remove the door handle. So in order to remove the door handle, you'll need to go in to this hole, not that one. So this one adjusts the door handle, you don't need to touch that, and that's an E3 socket, or E4 actually I think, which I don't think anybody has in the actual average toolbox, so you might need to order that, but you don't need to touch it. And in there's a T20, so you've just got to loosen it slightly and the door handle will come off. So it's got like a sliding recess in there, so you just loosen that T20 and then you can just wiggle it off and then unplug this electrical connector, which is here for the light for the door handle. Once that door handle is removed, you can then proceed to prying the rest of the face panel off and up. So once you've pried it, all of these clips here, and it's sort of in this position, you can slide it up with the seal still attached, slide it up, and then you should be able to just remove it that way. Once you've removed it, you've then got full access. So in order to replace that mechanism, you also need to remove the door card, but more about that in the next video. So now with this cog removed, the door will actually work. It will lock and unlock the way it's supposed to with the handles connected. I've ordered a replacement door lock mechanism, which I'll replace in time. So for the time being, I'm just going to put everything back together, carry on using the car, and when the door lock mechanism arrives, I'll replace it. And as for replacing these clips, ideally you want to be changing these clips because chances are they're going to break, but there is a way to save them. So what you could do is you could unscrew these inserts or adjusters, and when the clip is inserted in there, it's got these three little teeth. So once that's in there, you can get a little screwdriver, press on those little teeth, and that's the only way you'll be able to save those black clips without having to reuse them. My ones didn't survive. It took me a little while to figure this out, so I will need to replace a few of these. But if you don't have any of the new replacement black clips, do not pry them from the outside because you will break them. And if you did want to save them, I would recommend unscrewing these adjusters with the clip complete and then just pressing down on these little teeth on this clip in order to release it unharmed, and then you can pop these clips back into the back of the fascia panel and then line it up and pop it back on. So hopefully you found this useful, how to actually get to the emergency release on the door lock on an i3, because there was literally nothing I could find on the internet, and I hope that this is going to help somebody, save them a little bit of ripped fingernails and knuckles and frustration and a hefty garage bill. So thanks for watching, and see you again in the next one.